Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Fatimah. I'm from PGRI Madiun University. I'm a student of PMM. Now I will explain about principle of technology used in educational setting. The first is content of material. The first content is know your student. The second is choosing material. The third is student working with technology. Four is language use. And the last is challenge of technology use in classroom. First, know your student. In order to use IT on and going on basic in your lesson, it is important to become familiar with your own student familiarity with technology. Students sometimes have an unhealthy aversion to anything that smack of education. So, one cannot assume students will automatically know how to make a PowerPoint, a podcast, or a website even though they may have happily downloaded podcasts and surfed the internet. One way to gauge student computer literacy level is to conduct a need assessment at the beginning of the year. Teachers can easily conduct a short survey. The result of the need assessment will enable a teacher to better judge how much technology to infuse into a lesson and how much scaffolding a teacher needs in order to support student learning. Remember, just as teachers need to make small steps when trying to infuse technology, so too do students when they are equally trying to get their head around the technology. Tips. I have a teaching tips. Before steaming ahead with a new topics, if you are sure you are going to use a given IT, give student classroom time to tinker with the IT in question. It is in this way they won't be trying master the technology as well as content. Allow the technology tinker time, and then when the time comes to use the technology to add interaction, neither you nor the student will get frustration. Second, choosing material. Instructional technology is marvelous for accessing authentic material as well as creating original research. Remember the last line of our elaborate Chinese proverb. Use technology with me, I will participate, I will transfer, I will employ, and I will create. If you have class of students always listening to their MP3 plays or iPod, then building listen around audio or video podcast will links into something in which students are already interested. In addition, venturing out from students trying can serve to motivate especially ELLs to use the specific aspect of English they need to master. Urban, Ban, Jane, and Summer 2007. For ELL, this translates into the following potential IT activity. Level 1. For ELL at the pre-production stage, choosing technology that supports text with image such as photo, graph, or chart is highly advisable since it's a link text with its visual preposition and act equally as a mnemonic device. Level 2. For ELL at the early product stage, choose IT that promote vocabulary, grammar, and listening acquisition such as exercise builder, as well as digital stories, audio podcasts, and online video. YouTube is recommended. Since all ELS will go through a silent period when learning English. It means that before speaking, ELLs will spend a lot of time just trying to understand their linguistic environment. Level 3 for ELS at the intermediate fluency stage. ELL, it is important to use it that promotes speaking, reading, and writing skill. Level 4 for ELS at the speech emergence stage. It is important to provide an ELS calc. In other words, their subject-specific language ability. Ideas that would naturally support these are tools that work in tandem with each other. Third, student working with technology. One of the biggest challenges of technology integration into classroom text is the shift in the roles of teacher. During page 2002, Park out Hammers and Lemonder 2003. As our 9-point continuum of IT use indicate, it is inevitable that the more a teacher employs instructional technology in the classroom, the less teacher-centered and the more student-centered a classroom will become. A future means by which teachers and permit learner autonomy through the infuse of IT is to allow students to work collaboratively in pair or small groups where they can engage in interactive problem solving or cooperative projects. For language use, research in language learning and IT use in classroom setting has over the years clearly come out in favor of its beneficial effect and second language development. Lee 2004, Bell 2001. Especially in networking collaboration interaction, use email, bulletin board, and chat room has been found to promote lively change between native and non-native speakers in addition to fostering scaffolding or idea and grammar. Toyoda and Harrison 2002. This occurred because they were more focused on getting their message across rather than being caught up on trying to be communicatively accurate. There is a place both type of communication in the classroom and they try for teacher is to try a create IT activity that foster both types of integration, communicatively accurate interaction, and communicatively effective interaction. 5. Challenge of technology used in classroom. Whenever one of working with IT one needs to be aware of potential frustration and how to avoid them. At the most basic level are the technical difficulties, which serve to frustrate teacher more than anything else. To reduce such as avoid frustration, upfront planning is the key. Always check the technology, hardware, and software first before you walk into your classroom to teach. There are also other types limitations with which teacher should be familiar. Teacher must communicate with your school district technology department to find out what IT security measures are in place for your school. A teacher is obligated to act as a quality control agent in order to make sure students avoid wasting time accessing inferior websites and sites that contains wrong information. Teach your students to be critical agents of whether they read online. As mentioned above, providing student curricular time to tinker with new IT is extremely important before they are expected to carry out an assessment using them. Not only should the student be trained on the use of a new program, but also they should be advised of any rules surrounding its use. Another challenge that might concern many teachers helping to infuse IT to their classroom is the issue of classroom control. Therefore, to ensure optimal use of technology in contents area class. A pedagogical sound technology plan is necessary. Both the teacher and students should be aware of the general principle when carrying out online activity and when using IT. That's all about my explanation. Thank you and see you.